Chicago Bulls have made a few changes over the last few years, but on today's episode, me and Pat are going to discuss the one change that we want to see the Bulls make for the 2025-26 season. We're going to discuss that, plus an injury update to Ayo Dosunmu, and who's the best Bulls coach other than Pat Riley, wow, Phil Jackson, and Tom Thibodeau. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages, and podcast. Pat came up with a great topic today. I got to give my boy credit for this one because this is all him in the brain of Pat, the designer. What's one change that we would like to see the Bulls make from the 2024-25 season until the 25-26 season? Pat, since it's your topic, I'll let you take it away first.
I always go first.
This is true.
No, listen, I think
also how. Never mind. It's all fair joke. I had to stop myself.
That was about to be crazy.
Yeah, it was about to be crazy.
Listen, I think the biggest changes Bulls teams needs to make from the 24-25 season to the 25-26 season is the situational defense has to improve. And that's the one area where I thought the Bulls were starting to get better. But when the games were the biggest, when the moments were, the most intense or the most pressure, we saw that kind of fade away. And it's been something I've talked about with this Bulls team over the last few years, where the Bulls always finish out as like this top 10 to 12 defense. You're like, how the heck did this happen that they lost so many games and they were one of the top defenses in the NBA? Mm-hmm. And it truly is just like in those situational moments, in the moments when you need to play the defense most, we saw the Bulls falter. And that's the one conversation that I think when you look at averages, when you look at how this team ranks out or how this game ended or the season ended, it doesn't tell you that. And that's the biggest thing to me, where in the fourth quarter of games, when it's the last 5 minutes of a game, are you locking somebody down? Are you keeping a team from being able to go on those big runs that put games out of reach? We saw the Bulls be able to fight their way back in a lot of games last season at the end of the season, but they weren't able to close the deal in a portion of those because that situational defense just wasn't strong enough there in the biggest moments. And listen, I get it. You're going up against a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James. It's very tough to say situational defense, but truly that's how you get to that next level. When you talk about how Indiana got to the NBA Finals, it was situational defense. Now, I don't want you to go down 20 like Indiana did all the way and then have to come all the way back. But like there is that you look at how this playoff run played out this season. You look at how, the championship run played out this season. It's just that situational moment of like, Tyrese Halliburton, you're not going to do anything because we've got our best defender on you. That, to me, if the Bulls can get to that point, that takes you a long way. That's how why the Baby Bulls were fun. How the Baby Bulls had that random 50-win season in there, right? Like they were able to step up in those moments, and we just haven't seen that from this team consistently enough over the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of situational things, not only situational defense, but there are also those times where we've seen it. And it's literally been in every iteration of the Chicago Bulls since Tom Thibodeau. We have these quarters where we just can't score the basketball.
The third quarter.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Wasn't it the second quarter under Tibbs, though?
Under Tibbs, it was the second quarter because we would always win the third quarter, and that's how we would win the game.
Yeah. So like it's these periods of times where the Bulls just can't score the basketball. So I completely understand what you're coming from there. The one thing that I would change about this team from last year going into next season that I do think we have the capability of doing is that I want to see, like, I get it, everything transition. And we were one of the best teams in the league partially because of that. But the game is going to slow down. There are going to be certain teams. One thing that doomed us against Miami in the play-in. We have to have more half-court sets. And I think we have too good of passers on this team for us not to be better in the half-court. Like Kobe, good passer. Giddey, his best attribute is passing.
Yeah.
I even think Modest is a decent passer enough for his position. He hasn't gotten a lot of opportunity there. We know Vooch is a good passer, right? Like, so I want to see better situational half court offense, and by an extension of that too, inbounds plays, bro. Like why is this still a thing? Why in the fourth quarter
I
we
thought
can't
Billy
draw
did a
up
better
inbounds
job with
plays
his
to say that?
sideline plays at the second half of the season.
It got a little bit better, yes, but it was still those time periods where it was just like, hey, we had to call a timeout because we couldn't get the ball in, like those type. Like you don't see teams that win at even a decent rate do that as frequently as what the Bulls did it.
Yeah, no, I think the sideline issues. I mean, the conversation last year was just like, especially early in the season. I thought later on in the season it did clean up, but like early in the season, it would be like, how is it possible that we have 5-second violations happening? How did you just come out of a timeout and you don't know who the best person to get the ball in is here, or the guy getting the ball is not doing a good enough job of getting open, right? Like there were too many of those moments, I think, and it truly is like, you almost can say kind of both of the things that we said here. The Bulls don't have very good situational awareness.
That is a great Bull,
like that's kind of the biggest thing. Like when you talk about these moments or these droughts that they go through, or just defensively just not being able to get a stop here, it's like, and I think the effort was better in the second half of last season. Sometimes it was just, in one game you had Kevin Durant being Kevin Durant. There's nothing you can do about that. With Pat Bev and Lou Will say we tried. You know what I mean? That's a different conversation than, looking at a team that's consistently putting themselves behind the 8 ball, consistently putting themselves down, or just putting yourself in positions where it's too much for you to be able to overcome, because you don't have the situational awareness coming out of the half of, hey, we got to hit the ground running fast here, or we're going to be in trouble. Or, hey, if we can, in the fourth quarter, if we can get these 2 big stops here, we really turn the momentum on our side. Like, to me, there are moments in a game, and truly it does come down to 4 or 5 moments usually in most games, unless you're just getting blown out, where you look at them and you go, that's an unacceptable moment. The problem with the Bulls is more times than not, those 4 or 5 moments are in just about every single game for the Bulls. And that's usually when we get to the end of the game and we go, listen, I really felt like this was the moment that this thing blew open, because they never recovered after this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what this team can cook up with. Let me ask you this, Pat, of the problems that we've identified here, how much, or because I think a little bit of everything, how do you balance? Is it player execution? Is it game planning and scheming by the coaching staff? How do you weigh that out? Which, as far as the percentage of how you weigh it?
You know how I feel. Listen, I don't think that Billy Donovan's system or his scheme is the worst scheme in basketball. I think players got to make plays. Too often than not last season, we didn't have guys rotating to the right spot. Too often than not last season, we didn't have guys with a hand in the face of a shooter, or, we didn't have guys who were knocking down. Listen, I always say this. There's a ton of open shots that Billy Donovan creates with his scheme. Yeah. You got to make them. All of a sudden, we start winning when Kevin Huerter starts knocking down those shots, when Josh Giddey is knocking down those shots, there were games where, especially when P. Will was in, where the teams defensively were just like, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a team that's getting the you got it, right? Like, even I would say this, even Ayo Dosunmu. Last season, there were portions of last season when I was healthy where it was like, let him shoot. And he'd have a hot game every now and then, but it wasn't consistent enough. Like, you can't have those moments. To me, you can have the best scheme in the world, and you can have the best mindset. And I guess on the defensive side, right? Like, when you look at like Spo and guys like that, like the defense that they scheme up usually overcomes the fact that you have a struggling offense. Billy Donovan's creating a ton of open shots all the time. It's not like we sit here and go, oh, these guys aren't getting good looks. We go, they didn't knock down the shots. You got to make your shots. And that's the bottom line, no matter what. To me, it's more on the players than it is on the coaches. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a balance between the two. It's so hard to know exactly what breaks down in any play. I have the standpoint too that just because it stops in what looks like an open shot doesn't necessarily mean that that's because of the scheming, but we'll never know for sure, right? Like, so overall, I think all sides need to be better at it. The players are an extension of the coach and the scheme itself, and we need to be a better well-oiled machine. We need to be better at execution. Wherever that execution is where the execution is. We have to be better. If we're trying to take a step up from what we did last year, you gotta execute better. And I'll give Billy Donovan credit for the 20-second shot clock and how that helped this team be prepared for the conditioning that they needed to play at a fast level, because there was never really a time, unless I'm forgetting something, where the Bulls ever seen gas despite their pace that they played at last year. Now you just got to refine it and not and clear up some of the sloppiness, because you did have huge turnover issues at one point in time, and I think that it's going to help you be put in a lot better situations next season.
Bro, the turnovers last year sometimes were crazy.
Yeah,
it'd be like, we got 14 turnovers in the first quarter. Like, what are we doing right now? So again, no, that's making the right decision. Players making the right decision. So we'll see what ends up happening, my boy.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, next up, we're going to be talking about an update on Ayo Dosunmu. He had an interview with Julia Poe, which is really, really good interview. One of the key things out of that is that he has been cleared for 5-on-5. We're going to discuss that, but first we got to get into a message from Monarch Money. Ever wish your money managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat, and it's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. Everybody has their own vices. Everybody knows mine is Bulls merch and Bears merch, for that matter. Monarch Money has helped me better keep track of my merch purchases, and also keep an awareness of what my long-term financial goals are as well. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. Ayo Dosunmu had an interview with Julia Poe over at the Chicago Tribune. She's starting to become one of my favorite Bulls beat reporters.
She own it.
And writers.
She's on it.
Yeah, she's on everything. She asks great questions. Doesn't really throw up the lob of questions. She not only asked them about the trade rumors and things, which you can get into a little about, but kind of the biggest thing for right now is that he has been cleared for full 5-on-5. It's about a month earlier than what the initial projections were for him to be cleared for 5-on-5, which I think is really good to be ahead of that schedule, which means that he's going to have about a month here, month and a half, almost 2 months really, because training camp's open end of September, to get completely now in gear, restriction free before training camp. How you feel about it, Pat?
Listen, I'm glad to hear it. He's been working his butt off. You've seen it through the streams. I mean, you see it. I saw him actually at Bears camp the other day, and he looks like he's in great shape. He looks very well prepared. He looks stronger. I mean, he always looks strong, but he does look a little bit stronger. You can tell he's been working and lifting more. But there's, to me, hearing that he's put the work in and that it's paid off to the point where not only is he back, but he's back almost 2 months before we thought he was going to be back. It truly shows how much Ayo was trying to prepare for this upcoming season and how serious he takes his craft. I think the opportunity is going to be there for him massively this year to be one of the focal points on this team, whether that's in the starting lineup or whether that's coming off the bench and being the leader off of that bench. But you see, right, how him and Modest have really kind of formed this bond here that hey, we got to make sure that we're working hard, because if we're not working in these moments, we're not going to get to those best moments. We're not going to get to those winning moments, the consistency that we're trying to find here. So I love the fact that Ayo has put himself in this position. And I think the fact that he's cleared for 5-on-5 already truly shows that, that he thinks that this upcoming season is going to be a step in the right direction because he wanted to be prepared for it.
Yeah. And it's also a contract year for him. So that plays a part into this as well, as far as being ready for that contract year. When you look at this offseason and how much time Modest and Ayo have spent together, do you think that's going to translate to on the court chemistry? Because we know Ayo is one of the best passers we have in transition. Modest is a good transition player. Do you think that pays off to better chemistry on the court as well?
Listen, I mean, if you're playing together a ton, you learn each other's tendencies. You learn how people move, how they go about, getting to the rim, where things open up best for them, right? Like you learn, okay, coming off of this screen, this is where I like the ball at the rim, and if you throw it up, I'm gonna go get it. There's so many things that I think that puts you in a much better position when you spend as much time as they have this offseason together. I mean, literally, I don't know if they're best friends or not, but they have stayed together this entire offseason. And you could tell, like I said, that they're putting in the work. They were the two that showed up to Bears camp together. I think that there's going to be a growth in the chemistry. The biggest question is, how do you utilize that if you're Billy Donovan? Are you bringing Ayo into the starting lineup? Are you playing Modest a lot more with the bench unit as well, because you want him and Ayo to have that synergy together? Like there's a lot that you can do right with this, but I do think you got to have Ayo with the ball in his hand to actually see that, and he's not going to get that as much if he's in the starting lineup.
That's true. That's a really good point there. Bringing up Ayo as potentially somebody who could start at the 3 this year, but you bring up an amazing point. If you want him to have the ball in his hand a little bit more, it's better to bring him off the bench, and maybe you stagger Modest, because we know there's going to be one stagger guy. Maybe you do stagger Modest with the bench a little bit more and give him opportunity to be more of the scorer at that time. I know you've been calling for Modest to take more shots this year. That is definitely one way that you can get to those more shots. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. Like I said, I think Modest probably tries to live around 15 to 17 shots this year. And I think the Bulls are probably going to push him to get there. And that, like you said, that's a great way to do it. Who's going to take more shots than him off of the bench unit? And if you've got him and Ayo, there's some good staggering that you can do with how this lineup is. I mean, as much as we're saying this guy may or may not be here, Kevin Huerter is still currently on this roster. He's going to be on this team starting the season off. How do you involve him possibly some with the starting lineup if you want to go with more of a shooting lineup? There's a lot of really good rotations the Bulls can have this season. You've got 3 guys that can handle the ball really well, and Trey, Giddey, and Ayo Dosunmu. And I mean, like, to me, I'm actually excited to see how Billy Donovan is going to utilize all of these young pieces, because I think you have guys who can go. You can have a lineup where you actually have shooters that are, the focal point of that. You can have a lineup where we've got our best defenders on the floor, and you've got more than just one of those. Like, it's going to be very interesting to see how this season plays out. But back to the original topic, this is where it starts. Having Ayo out there in 5-on-5 and having Ayo out there for training camp, like, that's where these moments develop and they build up. And I know we don't talk about NBA training camp as much as we talk about NFL, but it's the same kind of idea. Hey, this is where
NBA
you build
training
these
camp is
up.
like 3 days, and then they're playing preseason games.
Yeah, I respect it. I like it better that way. You learn how to play the game by playing the game. Just play the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the road, you raised a great point too. Like the lineup this year is going to see, I think, more competition from players that have a legitimate case to be in the rotation than ever before. And like, I know we talk a lot about P. Will possibly being passed up, but Dalen and Julian got to be looking at this too. Like, hey, we gonna have to fight this out, my boy, because and don't let Noah Essengay look like he may be ready for some minutes earlier than what's expected. Because then at that point, like, it changes a lot.
Hey, no, if Noah look good, cut them both. Just hey boys, we ain't got a spot for you. I hate to tell you.
Not why the ball, the Javon Carter's still on the roster.
He got a guaranteed contract. I'm sorry, boys.
They all got guaranteed. Everybody got a guaranteed contract at this point.
Hey, he got a guaranteed contract that hurt a little bit if you get rid of it. Dalen Terry making 11 cents out here. Hey, we're gonna guarantee that 1.5, baby.
It was like $3 million.
I think ain't Dalen making 1.5? Julian making $1 million?
At 11, Julian I think is, but Dalen at 11th overall pick got to be making more than $1 million. Dalen Terry's making 5.3.
Oh, cut him.
Listen,
what's Javon making?
6.8. That $1 million difference, I don't know, bro. You may be able to eat that.
Hey, that's $1 million more.
Julian's making 2.2.
Dang, these ones making stupid money to be
bro. Like, yes, bro, yes. Do you remember the days where second round picks was making? It was like 900,000.
Bro, and was living life like they was balling out here, bro. God, dog it. That's tough. Bro. Can't cut none of them, can't you? Yeah, dang it. Well, find somebody. Say you can get a trade partner for Dalen Terry. I'd take a G League play. I don't know. All right. Don't worry about it. It'll be a lot of dudes sitting on the bench.
This is gonna be a lot, because I mean, when you look at it realistically, I don't see any way that Isaac Okoro, Ayo Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, and Patrick Williams and Noah Essengay are all in the rotation. That's 7 players right there.
No, I think
2 to 3 of them are going to be in the rotation.
Yeah, you're probably talking about Okoro. I mean, you didn't even bring up Huerter in that situation, but you're probably talking about
Kevin Huerter.
Oh, did you say Huerter?
Yeah.
You're probably talking about Okoro, Huerter. And if Essengay hits, Essengay. And because you need a big. You got to have a big in the rotation like this. Somebody's got to be the
Now,
big.
first of all, I could completely see Billy Donovan playing Isaac Okoro at the 4.
I keep telling you, Noah Essengate is going to be a center.
Bro, not this year. I guarantee you not this year.
They're going to see Chet and be like, get your butt out there, boy. Nah, actually, hey, he might need to recover for a little while. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. There's a part of me that's a little bit nervous. Because remember how Nico was cooking in Summer League, but he did keep getting dunked on. Now, no, it didn't keep getting dunked on.
Nico Mirotic?
Not Nico. I'm sorry. Marco was cooking in Summer League, but kept getting dunked on. Like, there's a part of me where I'm like, I think Noah's that dude.
Noah got dunked on once, though. Like, it was like Modest got, I mean, not Modest. Marco got dunked on literally per, you know how we talk about per 36? It's per 10 for dunks. He got there per 10. He was 2.5 dunks per 10.
Hey, bro, it got me a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought about that the other day. I was like, man, Marco used to cook in Summer League. He finished with 36 points and 6 dunk-ons.
That's bro. Marco was just all right, bro. It's Mariah Mills. Go ahead and transition us, bro. Let's get to the last.
We're gonna get into an interesting conversation here about the best Bulls coaches that we have had in our history. And I'll tell you what, this one might actually get funny because the first time we said it, we was like, well, it's basically one dude, right?
All right, last topic of the day. We're gonna get a little meathead with it. Best Chicago Bulls coach, not named Phil Jackson or Tom Thibodeau.
There's only 2 that you really are arguing for here, right? It's got to be either Doug or Scott. Because while Vinny gave us our best, unless you're going back, I mean, how far back we want to go here. But I guess Vinny gave us our best, at least recent playoff series that we've seen, where it was like an actual competitive back and forth, or maybe the most fun playoff series we've seen. But Vinny was a big 42-42 dude. Like, Scott had some winning seasons out there. I might have to go Scott, or maybe Doug Collins. Doug Collins made the playoffs a lot too. I'll go Scott.
That's fair. So just for reference, right? Vinny Del Negro is the only Chicago Bulls head coach, other than Tom Thibodeau, of course, in this century with a 500 at least record as the Chicago Bulls head coach.
There's some bad ones in there, bro.
Bro, so just to go off of Phil Jackson, of course, best win-loss percentage, 73% wins. Tom Thibodeau, 64%. Doug Collins, 55%. Dick Motta, 54%. But that's
the one I was gonna say. Maybe Dick Motta, but you got to go back a long way.
That's
Dick
69 to 76. Ed Badger had a 51% win percentage, and then it's Vinny Del Negro right there at 50%.
Let me ask you this: does Dick Motta? That's a pause. I shouldn't have stopped right there. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a pause. That was definitely
nuts. That was.
And saying that's nuts is even worse after that, bro. You just
does Dick Motta?
Does Dick Motta? Okay, all right.
There needs to be a shirt on that in a Bulls game, bro.
Oh man,
that may be the one. That may be the one right there.
So yeah, so Doug Collins is clearly the best coach other than those 2.
Yeah,
Dick Motta. But listen, you know me. I respect it, but I'm not gonna act like because I don't remember. I wasn't alive. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, so that's the tough part. Like I don't know. Now, I mean, well, hold on. That was a Western Conference Finals team, wasn't it?
Yes,
I believe they went to the Western Conference Finals and they lost to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
Yes,
it might be Dick Motta, bro.
That's fair.
It might be Dick Motta, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. He's had the most success out of anybody else.
Yeah, Dick Motta and then Scott Skiles.
Scott Skiles was second round, but he did beat the championship
Miami Heat.
Yep. That next year he had D Wade crying. Yeah, yep. I mean that was a fun moment.
And then to me, Vinny Del Negro
in that next series.
And Vinny Del Negro at that point.
That's our top 3. That's tough. That's depressing. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's one of those, when it's like when we said the best, what's the one thing we always did? Like the best players or the top 10 players in Bulls history, and you quickly get the dudes that was like just role players.
Yeah, quickly, very quickly.
It's like you get through like 6, and then you like, and Pau Gasol's in the running. You know what I mean? Like that's the tough part about it. But I don't know, man. That to me, I think you got to go Dick Mata, and then after that, it is what it is. Does Dick Mata?
Yeah, that's it, bro. I mean, it got to be those. Like, and it's you know what? We've only had 2 great coaches in Bulls history, with some good ones in Doug Collins, Dick Mata, Vinny Del Negro, Scott Skiles.
Wasn't Bill Cartwright on this team for a little while?
Yeah, he coached the team 2022 and 2024 at a 33% win percentage.
Then who did we go? Was Bill Cartwright before or after? He was after who was the idiot? I'm thinking Fred Hoiberg, but it's not him.
Tim Floyd.
Tim Floyd.
Yeah, he was after Tim Floyd.
Oh my God. Bro, since Jordan left, what is it? It's Tim Floyd, Bill Cartwright,
Skiles. From Skiles to
Del Negro.
From Del Negro to Tom Thibodeau to Fred Hoiberg to Jim Boylan, and then to Billy Donovan.
No, I can't do that on lockdown.
Yeah, chill out on that one. Chill out. But let us know down below. Who do you think is the best Bulls coach, not named Tom Thibodeau or Phil Jackson? Let us know that down below. Anything left, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, I'm depressed now. Now I need to drink. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love.
Yep, you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
That was Dick Mata.
That's crazy.
Hey, bro, we got to stop ending with them topics. That was depressing as heck.
I thought it was going to be more uplifting.